I wish to say good afternoon to all the participants of MINEX in 2022, and I hope you're a lot warmer than we are in Almaty at the moment. Now I want to touch on why Scythian mining is in Central Asia, and there's six major points I want to touch on, and particularly it applies more to Kazakhstan probably than the other stands, but the first one applies to all of them. They have fantastic geology, and I'll go into that in much more detail. They've got world-lasting deposits, as was mentioned by an earlier speaker, at the Muruntau deposits, and there's quite a few others which I'll discuss. The cost of discovery in Central Asia per ounce is very low, much lower than anywhere else possibly in the world. The legislation in country risk is low, particularly in Kazakhstan, where they've adopted a more Western approach in the reporting system, as well as application for licenses for exploration. Modern exploration technology is also improving, but it has been absent for the last 35 years. And that is something is advantage and a disadvantage. Taxation and foreign investment in Kazakhstan is competitive worldwide. So as these 6 factors, which I'll discuss a little bit in more detail. Next, please. Okay, this is Central Asia from Google Earth. Right, and basically what makes Central Asia such a great place for investment in geology for mineral deposits is what is known as the Central Asia Orogenic Belt. And this is what produces world-class deposits like Muruntau, Almanak, Bolshoi, Kumtor, OT in Mongolia. These are massive structures that are formed throughout Central Asia. And there's these structures that allow huge deposits to form. Go to the next step. Now, if you look at this a little bit bigger, and the Central Asia Orogenic Belt stretches all through a lot of Russia and also China. Next step. And that's the area that we're looking at there. Next. And there's a major structures. What is, you know, previously spoken about is the Tian Shan Gold Belt, but no one's actually able to map it. But what we've got here is Central Asia is right in the middle of the world's premier gold producers. China is the biggest gold producer in the world. Next. And then you got Russia, which is emerging as the second biggest gold producer in the world. So Central Asia really has the potential. Next. Next. So it's in between 2 of the major gold producers in the world. So it has potential to be a major gold producer, probably within the top 5 gold producers in the world in the future. Cost of production. Now, in the former Soviet units, it's only $39 an ounce to find an ounce of gold. Russia, in US, Canada, Australia, $82. Rest of the world's about 72. So that's half of what it's costing to find gold in the other parts of the world. Next. Right, since 2017, Kazakhstan has introduced a new exploration and mining code based on a West Australian model of first in, first served, and this is very important. This is a major step forward in putting Kazakhstan as a competitive place to invest. And also moved from the GKZ Soviet system of reporting to a JORC, or what is now known as KazRC, which is JORC equivalent reporting system in Kazakhstan. The introduction of modern technology has been slow in Central Asia. It's been a bit of an exploration desert since 1985 when the Soviet Union stopped exploration, but it's catching up quickly. But this has allowed opportunities for companies that have been in here early to find a lot of prospective ground available in Central Asia, and so it's coming back quite quickly now in the last 5 years. Taxation, corporate income tax is 20%. It's competitive to worldwide. Personal income tax is 10%, plus your social payments. Mineral royalties, or what's called mineral extraction tax, it has increased a bit last year. Gold has gone from 5% to 7.5%. So there has been an increase in those fields in the last year or so. Next. Right, so this explains why Scythian is in Central Asia, and we've been here a long time. I first came to Central Asia in '97, so over 20 years experience in that. And Scythian has now consolidated ownership of 2 world-class assets. One's gold, and the other one's a gold copper asset. The first one is the Caucasus deposit. We have 51% of this. We were planning to do an IPO this in 2022, but for obvious reasons that didn't go ahead, and that's been postponed. In the meanwhile, we've raised $1.2 million to continue drilling at Caucasus. We developed a resource here in 2018 of 20,000 ounces, and we expect after drilling this year to be over 1 million ounces on that, and then we aim to raise some further money before IPO to get that to maybe 2.5 million ounces. The other future growth projects is East Balkhash, which is near Balkhash Lake, not far from the joint Actagai deposit of Cas Minerals. It is a nest of porphyry coppers. The next slide. That's a photo of Caucasus from a distance with all our trenches on it. That's about 3.5 kilometers wide, very low flat terrain, and it stands out proverbially like the dogs behind. And in the foreground, you see our camp, a little white box there, drilling camp, and this is where we've been working this year. Next slide. This is our drilling program. You can see in the highlight in the yellow is our current, what we delineated this year. We go to the next slide. Yeah, so that little circle is what we had as a resource, and now it's increased about 5 times in a fold nose. And the green is extensions of the fold, which we are finding anomalous gold, and we're still doing some RC drilling out there at the moment just to prove those up. So we're doing structural studies on this as well, and it's very clear now that the structural controls of this is the folded quartzite, and the axial plane cleavage of that fold, plus the northeast structures, which are part of the joint structure that goes all the way up to Bolshoi, and we're more or less controlled by the same structure as Bolshoi, which is about 400 kilometers to the north. So we believe we have got probably a world-class gold deposit here, potentially in the long term over 5 million ounces. The second stage is what we're entering into now, is 10,500 meters of drilling and a pre-feasibility study, and that hopefully will start in the next couple of months. We're talking to a number of investors to continue that process before IPO. Next slide. This is Caucasus from a distance. What you see here in the DEMS map is the alteration. This is very strong silica illite alteration, and these zones are also mineralized. We're focusing in the foreground there to get 2.5 million ounces, 3 million ounces there, but we believe by further drilling we can push this up to 4, maybe 5 million ounces in the future, and that's just stage 3 exploration after IPO. Next slide. Next. Now this is East Balkhash. Just an interesting correlation. What's the relationship between these two photos? and that is the next. The first priority of successful mineral exploration is a comfortable campsite, and that's very, very important, because if you're not comfortable, you're not going to stay very long. Next. Yeah, this is East Mulcash. This is 12 kilometers by 16 kilometers. It's a very big area. This is an IP image at about 400 meters in depth. It shows significant IP and targets of a cluster of porphyry systems. The first one is Scythian. There's quite a lot of drilling being done on that. It's got a resource there of 0.3% copper, probably in the order of 400,000 tons of contained copper. And then the Jurax 2, the 0.2 is Jurax South, which we discovered in 2018. And that's a epithermal system. It's a dilational jog over 3.5 kilometers. And we're doing some delineation drilling there. Potentially could be 1 million ounces there as well. 3 is these deeper porphyry system related to Jurax South. 4 is Jurax 4. The Gossan at the surface intersected 48 meters of 4.5% copper, and we need a lot more drilling to be done on that zones, and also A, B, and C. And Jurax 5 hasn't been drilled to date. Next. Yeah, this is a bit more of the drilling that's been done on Jurax South, and the drill results we've encountered. You can see it's been offset. The ore zone's been offset by structures there, but it's still over 2.5 kilometers long, and it needs a lot more delineation drilling there to define the targets. But the best intersections last year, I think it was 26 meters at nearly 4 grams at 92 meters, so in the sulfide zone. So, yep, next slide. There's a Scythian. It's a covered deposit, 20 meters of unconsolidated cover, and the main drilling is to find a zone of porphyry system there. It's 700 meters by 500 meters, and it averages 0.34% copper. What we'd like to do this is get that, infill that, and get it up to hopefully 1 million tons of contained copper, and maybe offload that onto CAS Minerals in the long term, because it's only 40 k's from the Actagai, and it's almost identical grades, and no gold associated with that. Next slide. So we follow a sustainable gold process with sustainable gold and sustainable mining. Our approach is to try and not use cyanide in any of our processes, and we believe in the clean mining approach. And we will be testing our samples, metallurgical samples, in Perth, in Australia, with clean mining solution in the next month, just to see what we're recovering. The interesting thing about Caucus, you do the gold is in the oxide zone particularly is very free, almost 100% free, and we're getting over 50% recovery, gold recovery in just using a Nelson concentrator, and the rest we know we can get up to another 40% using cyanide or CIP solution, as an approach. So if we can replace the cyanide with clean gold, that's our long-term strategy here, and the rest of the sponsorships, and that is sustainable development goals as outlined by the United Nations, is what we're following. Next. And so I hope that answers the original question, why Scythian is in Central Asia. And thank you very much for listening. If there are any questions, please come forward.